Hey everyone, in today's video we are going to look at how we can fix date using Excel VBA if your Excel does not recognize the date. That you can tell if the dates are left aligned or the filter does not work. So let's say if I click on filter and I click on drop down, I don't see any date filtering capabilities here. Alright, without further ado, let's jump to Excel VBA. If I want to open up VBA editor, you can either save your Excel workbook in XLSM format or you can save this in a personal macro workbook. That's totally up to you. I already have this file saved as an XLSM. So within the file, I'm going to go to insert, click on module, which will create a new module. Let's give it a good name. As soon as you press enter, you will see an empty round parenthesis and an end sub, which means everything is working. Within the sub and end sub, we will write our code. So let's start writing our code. So the first thing we need to do is we need to separate these days using /. So let's do that. We will do that using split function. So let's type split accepts expression as string, then you will give the delimiter, and the rest of the parameters are optional, you can skip them. So our value, for example, we can say, let's say if you want to select this value here, a2, we will say range a2 dot value. This is the value we want to look at, and then the delimiter, this is the /. So let's add it. So we will need to save this inside of an array, so we need to declare an array as well. Let's declare dim arr as string. So this is how you declare an array. Let's put this equal to array and let's see if we can debug this. So let's step through the code. You can do that using F8 or the key here. So let's say what we have here. So as you can see in the locals window, you have arr, which is the array, and you can see the three values that are stored in the array. Keep in mind that array is 0 index based. So we have actually three values, but it starts from 0, 1, and 2. So we have 2 as the max value, which is actually 3 because it starts from 0. And we have the three separated values 18, 12, and 2022. Next thing we will need to do is we will need to get these values back together. So let's say we want to fix the value and add back in range b2. Let's do that. We'll say range b2 dot value, and we will simply need to do some manual work here. So we'll need to take array1, and then we will need to concatenate a /, and then we will concatenate array0 and then array2. So let's do that. All right, once done, let's stop the macro and let's run it again. And as soon as we run the macro, our column b2 should have the correct value. And as you can see, 12 was the month, which we have right now at the front. 18 was the day, which is in between, and 2022 was the year. All right, so next thing we need to do is we need to apply this to all of the values on column A and convert this to a loop. All right, so we will use a for loop. For loop is very simple. You start with for I equals, and now you will tell what to loop how many times. So we will loop from 2 because we want to loop from second column. And the last value or the last loop value should be the 5 here. So what we can do is we can use range and end down method to find out the last row. So let's do that. So we range a1 dot end excel down dot row. So basically what this will do is it will loop from second value to fifth value, which is here. And let's say if in future our data increases and we have a value here, then this method here will automatically select 6 in here, which is our last row. Keep in mind that this method of finding last row will not work if you have empty values in between your column. But for this instance, it will work. So let's test it. The way you close for loop is you add next I. Here I could be anything. You could say Z here as well, and then this will be next Z. But I is usually industry standard, so we'll use that. Right, so let me format this a bit. And now we will need to change this a bit. So let's convert this to cells function, because cells can easily take in row and column value separately. Range can also take it, but it's a bit hard to use. So let's use cells. So cells accept row index and column index. So for row index, we will give the value of I, which will have the loop value in each iteration. So in our first cycle, it will have 2, then it will have 3, 4, and 5. So that way we can loop through all the rows one at a time. So let's replace row with I, which will be the row value. Column index, so the column we want to look at is column 1. So let's do that. All right, so this is good. Now we will need to modify this as well. So let's just say cells I. This will again be I because I is the row number. It will be same across all the VBA code. And then we can either overwrite this back to the first column, or we can add the corrected value in the second column. Let's just add it in the second column for now, because if we keep overwriting our base, we don't really see what happened. We say cells I2, I will be the value, whatever the value of the row, 2 is the column B. All right, so let's go through this and see if this loop works. Let's press enter to test our code, and boom. You can see 12 was a month, which we have right now at the front, 18 was the date, and similarly, we have 10th month here, and you can see the code works. Let's just test it by adding some new data. Right, so let's test it again, and boom, everything works. Now let's just see if our filter works. Let me add column name, date call fixed, apply the filter again. And now when I press filter drop down, I can see the date filtering capabilities from here. And you can also say it says date filters here. And if I press this on this column, then you don't see any kind of date filtering capabilities. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something new and you are able to fix the dates in Excel going forward. If you have a better way of doing this, let me know in the comment section. Till next time, happy learning.